The state of balance is a vital ingredient in the recipe for success. Whatever our path, whatever our calling, whatever our vocation, inward balance is the key. What is balance? Balance of the human heart, balance of human emotions, balance of the human mind. A state which is neither too tense nor too relaxed. The middle path. Gautam Buddha used to call it the middle path. There is a Sufi story which reminds us of this virtue called balance. There was a Sufi master who had a brilliant disciple. Now this disciple had a strange habit. When everybody else was doing their meditation or their exercise in the shade, this boy used to go out into the beating sun. Or when it was raining outside, he used to insist upon going out in the rain, catching a cold, putting his body through great hardship. The master was wondering, why does this boy put himself through such great hardship when he can easily choose an easier way? So one day he went to that boy and he asked him. He says, I have heard that before you came to this monastery, you used to play the musical instrument, the stringed instrument. It was an old stringed instrument which used to be played by this boy. He used to come from a very good family and he was known as a very famous instrument player. Something like the sitar, but a very ancient instrument. So the master said, you used to play the instrument. Now I want to ask you a question. Could you play it properly if the strings of the instrument were too tight? So the disciple thought, and he said, no, if the strings are too tight, the string would snap. I would not be able to play on the instrument. So the master said, oh, you'll not be able to play on the instrument if the strings are too tight. But now if the strings are too loose, have you played on the instrument when the strings were too loose? So the boy thought a moment and he said, honestly, he said, you know, if the strings are too loose, it'll just be noise. There'll be no music coming out of it. So the master said, exactly. If the strings of your heart, of your soul, of your mind are too tight, the music of your life will not be played. It'll snap. You'll break yourself in two. Why are you putting yourself through such mental torture, such hardship? There's an easier way to do it. But at the same time, if the strings are too loose, like you said, there'll be just noise. There'll be just only a cacophony. No music. So I appreciate your discipline, but the problem is you have taken it from that extreme of being too loose to this other extreme of being too tight. Be somewhere in the middle. Be relaxed. Don't be so relaxed that you're useless, but don't be so tightly wound that you'll break. And isn't that the fundamental problem in our work life? Sometimes we feel hopeless, too loose, being able to do nothing. And sometimes we feel absolutely tense, in a state of abject terror. Either way, success is bound not to happen. We have all heard the saying, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. But I say to you, all play and no work also makes Jack a dull boy. Now the new paradigm of work is to mix fun and seriousness. The companies which have done exceedingly well, the Facebooks of the world, the Googles of the world, have understood that their employees are to be in a state of balance, to have an intense amount of fun, but at the same time working as hard as they can. You know, there used to be a sign at Microsoft offices saying, while I'm awake, I'm working. Now they used to follow that dictum, very hard work. But over the last few years, we've seen this scenario change, even in the IT sector. Because they're too tense and people snap, people, they take early retirement, they're no good to the company anymore. and they look for new meaning in life. To make the workplace meaningful, it must be a holistic environment. The way we react with each other, the way we relate to our bosses, to our employees, to our company, to our organization as a whole, is a state of balance. Even organizations must understand this, how to themselves be balanced in their expectations. So all around balance creates sharpness, intelligence, ultimately a higher level of achievement and success.